Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Intuitive Heart Healer podcast. My name is Valerie McLaughlin. I am your host for today's podcast. And today I decided that we were going to talk about discernment and what that means. And not only that, but also how to learn what your body is telling you to help you discern something, and what will actually help you to start to begin to trust some of the information you're receiving from your psychic senses so that you can decide whether they are your thoughts or if it's real or not, because I know a lot of people have a lot of those questions. And I know I did when I was first started out and started doing this. It was like I knew things and I questioned, like, how'd I know these things? Like, this isn't true, this isn't real. Like, how would I even know something like this? And so I've already had to learn to trust that I just knew those things, and this was information was given to me for a reason. And part of that is learning in my body when I know something is true or not. And then I was able to begin to trust that. And a lot of that was learning my own discernment. And so by discernment, I mean really sitting with something and letting yourself be with it to decide whether this is true for you or not. Because when somebody says something, it is really up to you whether you take it as your own and state whether it's true. For example, most of us will look up to the sky and the sky is blue. We were told this by a young age by many people that the sky was blue. But maybe you look up at the sky and the sky isn't blue to you. Maybe you see a rainbow of colors when you look up at the sky. Then taking on the information that the sky is blue is not true to you. And some people may disagree with you, and you have to be okay with that. And that is part of standing in your truth and standing up for what you believe to be true. And so when you are receiving information, whether it's through your psychic senses or through somebody else, a teacher, a coach, the news, whatever, it is up to you to decide what is true for you. And I say this a lot with my healings and my podcast, maybe not all the time, but I do ask you to take what you feel is true to you. Use your own discernment to decide what is true to you. Because over the years, as I've listened to different people, where they're from, but let's just say different spiritual teachers, even learning about chakras, I've had to discern what I feel is true to me, because when I work with chakras, something somebody else might have said doesn't resonate with me, and that's not how I feel it or see it or understand it. And it doesn't make one wrong and one right. It just means that that's your truth and you stay into it. And knowing that and working with that, then that helps you to understand it. And then down the road, if somebody says something else, says, the root chakra is blah, 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 and you're like, yeah, I think that's true, then take it as your truth. But if you're like, no, it doesn't, but you don't have to state it. That's the thing. You don't have to go back at somebody and disagree with it. But you take what you want to be yours. And reason why is because, you can state it to somebody, but I would refrain from getting into arguments or trying to prove your point, because we all come from different perspectives. We all see and feel and sense things and hear things and know things differently than each of us. And we all have to decide what we believe to be true. So there's a couple of things that has helped me out. So the first thing that helped me out is keeping a journal of understanding, writing things down of what I received and what I did with this information and what the outcome was. That helped me out a little. That helped me out a lot. Is keeping track of when I took something as mine or I received a message, what I did with the message and what was the outcome. And learning through that process and journaling that really helped me out. And you've heard me, if you've listened to some of my lives or podcasts, I've talked about this before because it's really important when you're starting out to be able to figure out what it is. And when you know something, or maybe you feel something, you don't understand it. I also recommend creating your own spiritual dictionary, because not everything that you read about what somebody else relates to you. So we're going to talk about a dog. So if you, as a child, had a dog and that was your best friend and you loved the dog and you played with the dog and you had fun with the dog, your perspective when you see a dog is going to be different than somebody who maybe at a young age was attacked by a dog. And that person's perspective of the dog is fear. Like, that dog's going to attack me. So maybe you'll walk into a room and you'll be like running over and wanting to play with the dog like you're a little kid. And the person that was bit by a dog maybe walks into the room, sees the dog, pauses and like freeze and like, is this dog going to attack me or not? And the reason why I bring this up is because if you are sensing a dog, seeing a dog, what is that definition to you? Are you the person that had a loving, fun relationship with the dog? Or are you the person who was attacked with the dog and it has a totally different meaning for you? So that's why I say create your own. Even when it comes to numbers and colors and things like that, create your own dictionary. And you could do this by writing it down or just understanding that not everything somebody else writes down about what the color blue means is going to resonate with you because you have a different association, because maybe you had a different experience with that color. So these are things for you to start to do so that you can learn to trust and understand the messages that are coming through. The other thing that I teach and that I actually practice myself was discovering what the yes and no within my body is. So if I ask myself a question like, is my name Valerie? Where does it show up in my body? If I ask myself, is my name Tom? Where does it show up in my body? I'm going to go in a minute, but you can even do a simple thing. And this is usually how I tell people to start out, because names can get a little complicated sometimes because you might remember a past life, or your body might have that past life experience or something. So sometimes that gets a little confusing with people. And that's the reason why I use my name first. You can simply say, sit there, take a few deep breaths, center yourself, and say, can you please show me yes? And notice what happens in your body. Do you have a feeling? Do you have a sensation? Is it pressure? Is there tingling? Is it in a certain area of your body? And then ask again. My yes is this pressure and tingling that I get in my forehead. Is that you showing me my yes? And then receive the information. And if it's the same feeling that you have, then you have established within your body that feeling of yes. How your body indicates something is a yes. And when I feel my yes, I also feel it from my heart. But until maybe you begin to clear and let some things go in your heart and open up for forgiveness and things like that, it may not be as clear at first, but as you practice and continue on, it will get clearer and clearer and clearer for you. So then you do the same thing with a no. Please show me no within my body. And again, you may feel tingle in a different area of your body, or tightness, or discomfort, or maybe a yucky feeling throughout your body. Maybe you get almost like you're scared, or you have fear, or when you're scared and fear, you have this response in your body, and that shows up when you ask the question no. And once you receive your no, and if you're not sure, you can ask, can you please show me no? Again, and allow your body to show itself no. And then once you're clear about what you perceive the no to be, you ask, I receive the no to be a tightness and discomfort within my chest. Was that you showing me my no? And in that case, you should receive if that is correct, is your no, you should receive a yes. So you're not going to receive that no again. You could rephrase it and say, this is what I felt as my no. If this is my no, please show me the no again, so that you feel the no again. You can do it that way, and that'll work. That's another way that you can do it. So there's a couple options. So then you have your yes and no. And then I recommend that people practice this yes and no. And I practice with like simple questions. And I like to do conversations with your higher self, because then you are having conversations and you're inviting your higher self, which, if you listen to that podcast, is the highest version of yourself, your connection to you who knows everything. And you can have a simple conversation. So when you establish the yes and no, I usually recommend that people have these conversations with the yes and no with your higher self, because then you also start building that connection with your higher self. So it's a layering process, right? You're building this connection with your higher self, and you're learning more how your body reacts to something yes or no. So, and ask simple questions. I'm not talking about going out and asking life-changing questions, just simple like, higher self, is it in my highest good to have pizza for today? And right there, I get this tightening in my chest. So that's a no for me. So, it could be something higher self. Is it in my highest good to wear green today? And feel what it says. And I always tell people that sometimes you won't get a yes and you won't get a no when you play this game. And I do like to consider a game because you have fun with it, and you build this rapport and everything, because sometimes it's like, it's just doesn't matter when it comes to yes or no. So like when I asked a question about the green, I didn't get a yes and I didn't get a no. So that was me. It's like, it's okay if I wear it, or it's okay if I don't. So it's my choice. That's how I look at that. This will help starting you to understand how your body feels, how your body reacts, so that when you learn something from somebody, so when somebody says something to you like this, did you know that the sky is really purple? When you look up in the sky, it's actually purple, but the reflection of this is causing it to actually look blue. I'm just making this up, by the way. I know there's science behind it, but I don't really know what it is, but I'm making this up. But my point is, when somebody says something to that, you listen to it, like really listen to it, your body and your senses, your psychic senses, will give you information whether that is true for you to take in or not. And learning your psychic senses and starting to develop your psychic senses, it'll help you to discern these things more, because you will know that feeling the way you know something in your heart to be true. When somebody says something, you'll have that feeling, and it's like, that's true. But then when if they say something and you're like, no, that's not my experience, or no, I've never heard that before, but that does not sound right to me, and your whole body kind of tenses up and you get this tightness in your chest, or whatever it is that your body feels. I'm just kind of giving you an example of how my body starts to feel. You're taking your head out of it and you're actually going more into your heart. Does it light your heart up? So that tense feeling does not. It actually makes me tighten up and like protect my heart. So to me, that's a no. But if it's like the sky is blue and I feel good, I'm opening up my heart, I'm getting that tingling in my forehead, then for me, I know that that's my truth, and I know that it's true for me to believe it. And so this is how I use my body and my senses to help me to discern. And those are the tips and tools that I use to help me to begin to trust my psychic senses. And I use them for all of my senses. The feeling, well, honestly, the feeling actually came really natural to me. And, but you can use it for the feeling. But that is the one thing right off the bat that I trust it wholeheartedly. But the clear knowing and the clear hearing and the clear seeing, I had to build up a lot of trust for those things. And there's nothing wrong with that. You go at your own pace. You go what feels right for you. And just because somebody will give you like this elaborate experience that they have doesn't take away from your experience, because your experience is your own experience. And that is part of the whole discernment part too, is realizing that everybody's having their own experience. They're seeing and feeling things and getting information that is true for them and for ways for them. And it does not make your experience better or worse than theirs. It just is. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go back to one of my other podcasts. Maybe I'll link it in if I remember to this, about accepting things for what they just are. They just are. No right, no wrong. It just is. So those are some tips and tools I have for you for discernment and trust. And I encourage you to go out and practice them or develop things that might work for you. I know some people use pendulums. Pendulums was not something that really worked for me. I felt like I was controlling the pendulum a lot. And we'll talk a little bit about that in maybe next week's podcast when we talk about telepathy, because I believe that's what I'm going to talk about next week. How you can use your thoughts to shift and change things or communicate with people. So pendulums didn't work for me. I did use oracle cards because they did help me out, or not oracle cards. They did too a little bit, but tarot cards should help me out. So divination tools too will help you to build trust in your psychic senses and help you build understanding of how to know what something true is to you. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email at intuitivehearthealer@gmail.com. If you would like to work with me, go to my website, intuitivehearthealer.com, or follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Intuitive Heart Healer. And I look forward to talking to you all next week about telepathy. And I also look forward to having you all on this journey. I am so grateful you are here and grateful that you continue to listen to the Intuitive Heart Healer podcast. Go out and spread some love in this world today. I am sending all my love to all of you. Till next time, everyone. Bye-bye for now.